Death Stranding is a game about reconnecting the world after a great catastrophe pulls it apart. That's Death Stranding in 16 words, but if you want something a little deeper than that to truly find out what's going on in Hideo Kojima's latest, well, pull up a chair because here's Death Stranding in 15 minutes. Let's first set the stage. Death Stranding is a post-apocalyptic story, only instead of the end coming by zombies, nuclear war, or a giant asteroid, it came by an event known as, well, the Death Stranding. The Death Stranding was a cataclysmic event in which ghostly beach things, or BTs, suddenly appeared in the world of the living, triggering a massive amount of simultaneous explosion-like void-outs all over the world that eradicated everything that was caught up in them, leaving nothing but craters in their wake. As a result of the Death Stranding, previously undiscovered particles known as chiralium appeared in our world, rain turned into timefall that rapidly ages whatever it touches, and those BTs still wander around the world in rainy areas, pulled magnetically towards life if disturbed, and eventually causing more void-outs if so. Naturally, this has led the remnants of humanity to turtle up inside isolated cities, thus creating the need for transporters, those brave enough to make the journey to deliver essentials from one city to another. Porters are some of the most valuable people in this death-stranded world. Enter Sam Porter Bridges, who begins the game assisting body disposal specialists. Since the Death Stranding, bodies need to be burned when they die, otherwise they will eventually necrotize and turn into a BT. Anyway, things go bad. Like, really, really bad. A mysterious masked man seemingly controlling BTs sets them on Sam's body disposal buddy, and before he's able to kill himself, a giant BT swallows him whole, triggering a void out and killing Sam in the process. No worries though, because Sam's a repatriate, which means that when he dies, his soul winds up in a place called the Seam, where he's able to guide his soul through the water back to his body, enter through the mouth, slide down the esophagus where there's a baby who gives him a thumbs up, and the next thing he knows, he's back to life spewing tar out of his mouth. Look, don't ask me how it works, ask Kojima. Anyway, Sam gets picked up by a man who goes by Deadman, on account of him being quote-unquote well acquainted with the dead. Deadman sends Sam to see his adoptive mother, Bridget Strand, the first and last female president of the United States, who also happens to be currently dying of cancer. Bridget passes on her dying wish to Sam: reconnect America. Sam is not sold on the idea. Bridget dies trying to convince him to head west and aid her daughter Amelie in making America whole, leaving him with one final "I love you" and a cryptic "I'll be waiting for you on the beach." Though still not convinced on taking up Bridget's vision to reconnect America, Sam agrees to take Bridget's body to the incinerator since the corpse disposal team has been voided out of existence. Deadman equips Sam with BB-28, the bridge baby that was originally thought to be defective after the botched corpse disposal run. Deadman wants Sam to burn it as well, thinking it no more than a tool, but come on, who could possibly kill that adorable little face? Oh yes you are, you're so cute! Sam keeps the BB, and good thing too, because BTs quickly corner Sam inside the incinerator. Thankfully, BBs allow the wearer to see where the BTs are, giving Sam a chance to escape without triggering another void out. Upon returning, Sam finally reunites with Amelie, who echoes Bridget's pleas with Sam to head west, establish the chiral network, and rescue her as she's been captured by a group of terrorists known as the Homo Demons, or Madmen. After all of that, Sam finally agrees to—
I'm not getting involved with you, or anyone else, ever again.
Oh. Never mind then. Sam takes a nap and awakens on the beach where he once again finds Amelie, and after another plea for help and some ominous foreshadowing, Sam finally caves, and thus truly begins his epic endeavor to reconnect the country and reestablish the United Cities of America. Eventually, Sam makes his way to Port Knot City, and it's here he has a reunion with the masked man from the beginning of the game, the one who seemingly controlled the BTs and wiped out the corpse disposal team. We learn that his name is Higgs, named after the god particle, the Higgs boson. Higgs introduces himself with a classic villain monologue, all of which will make much more sense later on, and then he sicks his BTs on you. After throwing a bunch of blood grenades at a whale, we set sail across the lake to the real meat of the game, the central region. Oh, by the way, this is Fragile, a fellow transporter Sam meets briefly earlier on in the game that has a freaky umbrella that gives her the ability to teleport and an appetite for cryptobiotes. She's also got an appetite for revenge against Higgs, as the two used to be partners before he used her to unwittingly blow up Middle Knot City and almost blow up South Knot as well. When Fragile was caught attempting to save South Knot City, Higgs offered her a choice: save the city by running through rapidly age-defying timefall and throwing the bomb in a crater, or save herself. Judging by Fragile's rapidly aged body from neck to toe, it's easy to see what choice she made. This is all important because Higgs sneaks a bomb into Sam's cargo and makes another attempt at turning South Knot into a crater. Fortunately, Sam's able to spot it in time and tosses the bomb into a tar pit. As he continues on his journey, Sam eventually gets swept up in a crazy storm and finds himself in a battlefield sometime during World War I. And it's here we first meet Clifford, a character we've previously only known through BB's flashbacks. Turns out, Clifford really wants that BB, and he's willing to turn his small army of skeletal soldiers against Sam to get it. But Sam finds his way out, and apparently only a few seconds pass in the real world while Sam was away. Sam's next stop was him meeting Mama, a woman who is tethered to her dead baby, which floats above her head as a BT.
She's my daughter. And I'm her mama.
Mama's story is a tragic one, but the short version of it is, terrorists attacked a hospital while she was giving birth, she got stuck under rubble during the C-section operation, and her baby died while Mama lived, connecting them via a BT's umbilical cord. Mama informs Sam that the chiral density is way higher than she ever expected as a result of Sam connecting stations to the chiral network. Even stranger, the limiter that she placed on the Cupid, the device that Sam used to connect stations to the chiral network, is faulty. She warns that if Sam continues extending the chiral network as is, he may actually cause another Death Stranding. She gives Sam a new Cupid, but in order to get it to work, Sam needs to seek out a woman named Lochna, who it turns out is actually Mama's estranged twin sister. To prove that he is trustworthy to Lochna, Sam reunites the two sisters, but not before cutting the umbilical cord connecting Mama to her BT baby and running away from Higgs and his giant BT line. Mama, whose real name is Malingen, dies on arrival, a result of severing her ties with her BT baby, but her soul becomes one with Lochna's. Interestingly, Mama's body doesn't show any signs of necrotization, but we'll get to that in a bit. When Sam returns back to his room and takes a nap, he wakes up to find that the BB, who he now adorably calls Lou, is missing. Deadman informs him that while BBs are meant to be a bridge between the world of the living and the other side, Lou is starting to veer too closely to the world of the living by developing into an actual baby. Deadman warns that Lou will cease functioning in a couple of days if he's not able to perform an operation to reset it, essentially tugging it back to the middle of the line between the two worlds. Sam hands Lou over to Deadman, leaving Sam with a few missions where he can't detect BTs. Haha, yay! Fast forward a bit to Sam's reunion with Deadman, where both of them get caught up in a storm that's very familiar to Sam, as it precedes yet another meeting with our good friend Clifford Unger. Deadman and Sam find each other inside a World War II themed nightmare world, and Deadman hands over the newly reset BB, which has now imprinted itself upon Deadman, finally making him see them as more than just tools. Aww. Sam faces off against Clifford once again, and in another scuffle, he manages to snag Clifford's dog tag before waking up in his private room, where we learn a whole boatload of secrets. Why Deadman is the way he is. He's an artificial human grown from pluripotent stem cells with parts of him made up of body parts from corpses to replace the defective ones. And the identity of Clifford Unger. He's a US Army Special Forces captain who also served in Kosovo and Iraq. Next up on the agenda is for Sam to pay a visit to a man known as Heartman, who dives into a deeper explanation of what a beach is in Death Stranding. A beach, as Heartman explains it, is a space created by one soul. They're called beaches, but they don't actually have to be beaches. They are shaped by the individual's beliefs, religion, philosophy, etc. And when a person dies, their beach essentially acts as a corridor connecting them to the other side. A sort of limbo, so to speak. Each person has their own unique beach, but if a bunch of people die all at once, their beaches become tangled in what's known as a strand field. So those World War battlefields that Sam finds Clifford in, those are beaches. The thing that Fragile uses to teleport, that's her beach. That beach that Sam and Amelie converse on, that's, well, it's a more beachy beach. Sam makes his way to Heartman with Mama's non-decomposing, non-necrotizing corpse on his back, along with a mysterious umbilical cord that Deadman wanted him to investigate. We learn that Heartman has a very close relationship with beaches, as he dies every 21 minutes for 3 minutes before being revived, allowing him to explore beaches 60 times per day in an effort to locate and reunite with his dead wife and child. At the time Sam meets him, he's been to the beach 218,549 times. A couple of deliveries and chiral network editions later, we learn that the umbilical cord Deadman smuggled into Sam's cargo actually belonged to Bridget Strand, and is apparently the key to unlocking the mystery of the Death Stranding. Heartman deduces that the cord, along with Mama's body, have cells infused with chiralium, giving them a connection to the beach and allowing them to escape the flow of time. Now, here's where things get last 2 episodes of Evangelion levels of crazy. The umbilical cord leads Heartman to believe that Bridget Strand was actually an extinction entity, and that Amelie, being her daughter, may actually be an extinction entity herself as well. Though, Higgs already told us that, so thanks for the spoiler warning, Higgs. After crossing a giant tar pit, Sam finally reaches his destination on the West Coast and completes his goal of reconnecting America. It's at this point where Higgs reappears with Amelie, applauding Sam on a job well done. Now that the chiral network is complete, Higgs plans on using Amelie to merge all of mankind's beaches onto a single shore and trigger a final Death Stranding to bring on the 6th and most devastating extinction event. Which brings us to a big old boss fight. After defeating Higgs' giant BT, Higgs runs off with Amelie to the beach. Fortunately, with Fragile's special power, Sam is able to follow them for one final fisticuff showdown. After beating up Higgs and leaving his fate to Fragile, Sam rescues Amelie and everything seems to be fine, right?
There's something that you need to know, Sam.
Well, not quite. Turns out Amelie has lied to Sam about a bunch of stuff. And we'll get to that in a second, but there's also the matter of Clifford and his hunt for his BB. Clifford appears on the beach Sam is on along with Die Hardman and Bridget Strand. Cliff recognizes Die Hardman and Bridget and demands his BB back. Bridget points him in Sam's direction, and before he's able to get to Sam though, Amelie shoves Sam off a cliff and he reawakens in a private room. Now it's time for Sam to head all the way back east. Right before Sam reaches his destination, a familiar storm kicks up and he's off to have one last showdown with Clifford. After defeating him for the last time, Sam finally learns the truth. Clifford is actually not such a bad guy after all. He's a war hero, a loving father, and a heartbroken husband who was lied to when he entrusted his baby to Bridget Strand after his wife wound up in a coma. Oh, and Sam is also Clifford's son, and he's also the BB that Cliff has been searching for this whole time. Die Hardman, a soldier who served under Clifford, attempted to give Cliff the space to break him and his baby out, but Clifford got caught, leading to Bridget giving Die Hardman the order to kill him. Tragically, an errant bullet hits the BB, sending it to the beach where Amelie is able to revive it and send it back to the world of the living, thus explaining not only Sam's gnarly stomach scar, but also his connection to the beach, his ability to repatriate back to life, and his relationship with Amelie. Though the baby can no longer serve its function as a BB, Bridget decides to adopt it and raise it as her own. Back to the present though. Sam travels to the beach once again to try and prevent Amelie from initiating the final stranding, but instead, Sam finds Bridget, and it's here we learn the big secret. Amelie and Bridget are one and the same. Sort of. Bridget is the body to Amelie's soul that's stuck on the beach, together making up one entity. But before any more revelations, Sam's given a choice. The 6th stranding has already begun. Does he sit back and watch it happen? Or does he cut his bond from Amelie and stop her from achieving her goal? Turns out, it's a bit of a fake choice. You can't actually kill Amelie. Though you can watch the last stranding go down, which will only point you to a continue screen. Only by holstering your gun and choosing to instead hug Amelie can you stop the 6th stranding from actually happening, or at the very least delay it. From the start, Amelie doesn't really want to bring on extinction. Trapped as she is in her role as an extinction entity, she actually approaches a young Sam and insists he stop her when the time is right, as he's the only one who can. But she knows extinction is an inevitability, and eventually the thought of waiting on the beach for however many hundreds of thousands of years, well, it gets to her. "I didn't think anyone would blame me," she said. But by hugging her, Sam reminded Amelie that it was the bonds between people that Sam valued the most, and because of that, she accepts a lonely fate, relegated to the beach for however long it takes to usher in extinction naturally. After the world-saving hug, Sam wanders the beach listening to Amelie/Bridget's whole story, and eventually he is rescued and brought back to the world of the living thanks to the combined efforts of Heartman, Lochna/Malingen, Deadman, and Fragile, who managed to track Sam down thanks to the revolver that Die Hardman brought to the beach, which contains his blood in the Hemantic rounds. From there, Die Hardman becomes the new president of the UCA, sharing an inauguration speech that makes Sam uncomfortable with the overwhelming praise. Fragile, meanwhile, continues her delivery business, and Fragile Express becomes the first private delivery firm to be approved by the UCA. Fragile also reveals that she never shot Higgs. She instead gave him the choice of death or being stranded on the beach. She offers Sam a job to work for her one last time, but Sam insists on staying a lone wolf. After Die Hard Man's presidential inauguration, Deadman returns Sam's BB, Lou, back to him. Unfortunately, Lou is near death, and Deadman gives him the news that to prevent a void out, Lou will need to be incinerated like any other corpse. Deadman heavily implies to Sam that Lou could be taken out of a pod to see what happens, but he also warns Sam that it'd be a direct UCA violation. He then disconnects Sam's cufflinks from the UCA, explaining that Sam can now remove them if needed. Officially free from the UCA, Sam travels to the incinerator to dispose of Lou's body. Deadman's words reverberate in Sam's head. He starts the process of incinerating Lou, but grabs him at the last second. Sam instead incinerates his cufflinks and removes Lou from the BB pod. After a struggle, Sam is able to revive Lou. The two leave the incinerator, and now that Sam is fully disconnected from the UCA, they seemingly will go on to live as father and daughter.
Louise.
We made it! That's Death Stranding's story in 15 minutes. Thanks for watching, and for more Death Stranding, keep it here on IGN.